Hello and welcome back to the Clock End Taproom podcast. I'm Dave, and tonight I'm joined, as always, now by Fize. How are you, mate?
All right, Dave, Nathan, how are you, boys?
Doing good.
Yes.
Doing good.
Yeah, and then Nathan, you right?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Very good. Glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been a week. We did the other ones quite quick, one after the other, didn't we? So a long time waiting to do this week one, but we'll get straight into it. We're going to have the opening question of the week. You can pick your nationality and join that fan base at the World Cup. You join in all their celebrations, all the stuff before the game. Who you picking? Fize, go on, take it away.
I don't know. I'd like to be a glory hunter internationally for once. I could pick a team that wins something. That'd be good.
You might pick Spain if we'd recorded this about 4 hours ago. Then
I might have done, yeah. But they're. Unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember when they were crap before they decided to create some of the best players in the world. But I would probably. The Dutch always seem to have fun. So they're like magnetic. But I must say, lads, everyone knows it. I mean, the Scots are going absolutely mental in this World Cup, aren't they? And it looks like a lot of fun if you were to join them. But then there's no glory, is there? Really? And you're like
you got to play 3, maybe 4 games, and then go home, aren't you? That's the problem.
Yeah. Everyone remembers Braveheart the film, but not the ending, right? Because he ends up in bits, doesn't he? He ends up in pieces and he loses the goal, and it's all gone wrong. But
I'll clip that up for tomorrow.
Yeah, please don't. Who would I join? I know the South Americans look brilliant. I mean, being an Englishman, I'm not sure I should be saying Argentina, but when they won the World Cup, the way it was kicking off in Buenos Aires looked amazing. They were bouncing, the whole city was bouncing, and Brazil are always fun. I don't know, lads. I think personally, I would join the Dutch. I'd go the Dutch.
Yeah, I think got a bit of Arsenal heritage in the Dutch team as well, isn't there? Really, through the years.
There is, and there's a complete parallel with Arsenal from a few years ago when we just refused to accept that we were shit, and I find that in common with my Dutch brethren there that. They refuse to acknowledge that they're crap at football now. I think Memphis Depay is their top scorer ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a crazy start like that.
Yeah. How disappointing a statistic is that? Yeah. With all the players they've had.
Yeah. It is crazy, isn't it? Though I guess it's always going to happen with like every country soon because just the amount of internationals they play now, isn't it, compared to back in the day? Yeah. Like Giroud being France. I love Olivier Giroud. Don't get me wrong, but. I know he's going to get beaten soon, or has he already beaten him Mbappe? I don't actually know, but he's not far behind, is he? But him being their leading scorer of all time doesn't quite sit right, does it? But,
no, it doesn't.
I think the Dutch away, you've got some good kits over the years as well. They've had some nice. The orange is obviously a classic. They've had some good away kits, like the black ones, like the Arsenal kits we like, some of them black ones.
Yeah, I do. They just look like they have a good time wherever they go, and there's I suppose really I'm basing this completely on the fact that I just want to go and get pissed with them sometime, but apart from that, it's just it looks like a good party anyway, and there's just who cares what anyone thinks, just think you're brilliant, just turn up and have a good time. But yeah, the Dutch for me, mate. I think it's gonna have to be the Dutch.
What are you, Nath?
I think Dutch is a really good shout, actually. I think every tournament they bring it, don't they? I feel like Scotland's the easy answer. Like, I don't want to discredit the Scottish fans because they are absolutely brilliant. I mean, that rendition of Fleur of Scotland in the opening game was just
amazing.
Something else, wasn't it? It was absolutely, and that's not like uncommon as well for Scotland. They always put everything into it, don't they? And I know a couple of people. I know someone in New York who I talked to. And she was saying that the Scotland fans have just been absolutely brilliant. Everyone loves them. Proper taken to them and everything. I saw the video today where I think 5,000 gate crashed a Boston Red Sox game, and
Yeah.
all the American fans were just like, "What is going on here?" Like, you know,
it's pretty much the perfect city for him to be in. I think the Scottish fans.
Oh
in
yeah,
Boston. You know, Boston's
yeah,
such a good city for that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely give a shout out to the Scottish. I do think that they're the one that, you know, everyone would pick, and rightly so. I think for me, I think Fize was onto something with the South Americans and just experiencing the sort of the culture and the sort of passion, and because, like, you know, you mentioned Argentina, but, you know, Brazilians, you know, all of them, you know, the Mexican, I know Mexico isn't South America, but the Mexicans as well, you know, they're so pumped. It feels like it's beyond passion with them. It's a way of life, you know. It really is, you know. Even at club football, you know, you look at River versus Boca games, and it's just absolutely like nothing you've ever seen before. So I think again, you know, controversial shout. I think I'd go for Argentina, just to experience that kind of craziness and deeper level of what appears to be a deeper level of passion. I think I'd go Argentina. Plus, you get the glory as well, don't you?
I mean, having Lionel Messi on your team is, you know, it's a good place to start, isn't it? When you're looking for a team support.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I want to change, Dave. I want to change.
Go on then. Go.
No, I'm not going to change.
What about you, Dave? Where are you going?
Same as both of you. I think it's the same bunch of teams, but I mean, Scotland feels like should be the obvious answer, but you just can't pick Scotland, can you? Really, you know, they hate us too much for me to pick them as the team I want to join.
To be fair, I swerved and went to Argentina, so it's not much better, is it? If it's better at all.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah. So the Scottish are different, but yeah, as I say, the scenes from Fenway Park last night were pretty incredible. Yeah. I just think about John McGinn for 45 minutes after the game and finished inside the stadium was
brilliant.
Pretty cool. But I think I'd find it hard not to pick the Dutch as well. You know, I've always had a soft spot for them. Just always, you know, since Bergkamp.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll always be like that team that I'll always look out for. Obviously, didn't end well, but you know, you had Van Persie, then you know, Timber. There's definitely a couple of others in there that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But you know, as I said earlier, we've always had a bit of a Dutch heritage at Arsenal, and I'll find it hard not to pick Holland. Netherlands, sorry. I'd go for them, but you know, it should be Scotland really, but I can't pick Scotland.
I tell you, who deserves a shout, to be fair. Who really impressed me? I think it was last night. Japan. The Japanese fans are fantastic. They did not shut up all the way through, and they were singing the same song. It was starting to drive me nuts, but I thought, you know what, that's commitment, that and passion. And they always clean up after themselves, don't they? They always go around the stadium and make it absolutely spotless.
I was about to say, like, I mean, look, we won't go into politics this week, but I am a Green Party member. I should love that they go around and pick up all the stuff after. Get bored of reading the stuff about it. We know they're going to go and pick it up. Come on, like, put the bin bags down, lads. They're doing someone out of a job or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to go that route. You know, suck them off for that. But I do really mean they're a lot of fun. I mean, there's something to be said for being like one of these real minnows in this, isn't there? You know, like Cape Verde earlier. Is anyone going to feel better than they felt after getting that 0-0 draw with Spain?
Yeah,
no,
that's amazing.
You know, whoever wins this tournament might not feel as like good as they did.
Well, I was in Saudi Arabia when they beat Argentina in the last World Cup, and
that was a lot of fun.
The country was mental. So they had this thing they were saying over and over again, which is "Wayna Messi," which is "Where's Messi?" And it was like because they just beat Messi on the pitch, and that was it for them. That was the World Cup. On the back of it, God knows what decisions were taken at government level, but I'm pretty sure that drove their sort of bid for 2034 because the country went mad. It was insane. There was people for a very conservative country. They were out in the streets. They were going mad. They were dancing up and down, and they were out till God knows what hour in the morning, just because they'd beaten Argentina and they beat Messi. For them, that was the World Cup. So you're absolutely right. It's one of those things, right?
It'd be great. It'd be great to experience it, wouldn't it? You know, from a minnow's point of view, because I think that England fans are very sort of entitled. Like I class myself as that as well. So, for example, for World Cup qualifying or European Championships qualifying. I don't watch it because we're just, I take the opinion that we should do it. That should just be an automatic thing. It shouldn't even be a problem. That's a really, really sort of like elitist mentality, and I don't like that. I think that I just expect it to happen. Whereas like you said, someone like Cape Verde, Curacao the other day, yeah, all right, they got absolutely pumped 7-1 by Germany, but the just being there is the win.
Well, that one goal is all that mattered, wasn't it?
It was huge,
the celebration of that one
it,
goal was
to make it 1-1 as well at the time that it came. It was just like, I was watching it and I was like, oh my, I was like, oh bloody, I was cheering for them. You wanted them to do it, and I know a lot of people are saying like, that this World Cup is diluted because of these teams, and it's not a good thing that these teams are in the World Cup. But at the end of the day, the rules have been put in place. FIFA have made this decision, rightly or wrongly, whether we agree or not, this is where we're at. And these teams have still had to qualify. Whether it's been easier than previous versions or, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like when Arsenal got to the Champions League final and everyone was like, well, you've not really beaten anyone. It's like, yeah, but we've beaten who we needed to. We've beaten what's been put in front of us. And it's exactly the same for these teams. So to say that they don't deserve to be there because it's a small nation, that's ridiculous. They've had to go through the same qualifying as everybody else, against, all right, the quality that they might have been playing might not be as good as what, England or Spain or Germany have been playing against, but they've beat what they've had to beat to get there. So, let them go, let them enjoy it.
Absolutely, yeah. Couldn't agree more. It's I too, Nathan, I fall into that as well. We're very Eurocentric in our sort of view of the world and qualifying, and because of where we are, it's just it's a bit like us and the Carling Cup or whatever it's called, the League Cup now. It's exactly Carabao Cup. It's that, isn't it? Wenger used to turn up and put kids out, and we used to love it. Oh, kids battered someone 6-0 or whatever it was, and but for that club that came to us, that was everything for them. They'd been playing for ages beforehand to get to that stage, and just to engage somebody. I mean, you can't take that away from someone. The moment that happens, it's that whole sort of Super League discussion, isn't it? You become a closed sort of, then you take the merit out of it, and after that, it's just about how much money this nation's got and how much it contributes. I think was it Curacao? They've got a population of 170,000.
Yeah, something like that.
That's insane.
I think there was like a mad statistic that they put up where it was like Germany had a population of like 80 point some million. Norwich had a population of like 157,000, and then Curacao was somewhere like 170 odd. It was just mad. It was like, it's just crazy.
80 can't be much more, can it?
No, I can imagine not. Cape Verde will be the same. I imagine can't be that much.
Go on, Dave. Sorry.
No, I think it makes it like a true World Cup having these teams in there. Seeing some different countries, and
let's face it, it was the same. 20 to 24 teams at every World Cup, and then you'd have sort of 8 to 10 teams where they'd sort of like, Australia would come in, and then New Zealand would swap with them, and then Norway would pop up, and then Iran would pop up every now and then you'd have like a wild card where it was like North Korea popped up one time, or you'd have like some Scotland, not wanting to disrespect them, but Scotland would pop up every now and then, and it was like right, but we all know basically after the group stages what's going to occur next.
Yeah, absolutely. It was it's a closed shop, isn't it? I mean, I remember the first few World Cups that I watched. Some of the boys that you see now, some of the African nations that are like powerhouses now, your Ivory Coasts and your Cameroon and Senegal, for example, they were nobodies. They were absolutely no one. And they turned up as people thought they'd be fodder. Got a draw. I think was it Senegal or Ghana? No, Senegal. I think that drew with France when they were defending champions first game, and everyone thought France had Zidane and Henry and everyone.
So it'd have been would have been like Diouf for those sort of players, that one, wouldn't it?
That's right. That's the one. That's the one. And suddenly these guys, they either beat them or they drew with them. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think they might have beaten them.
I think they beat. I'm sure they beat them. Yeah.
You might. Yeah, I think you're right. So that's what I mean. That they turn up and then suddenly their lives change in an instant. And now, they're regulars at the World Cup now. So you can't. You can't. As much as it is, it's funny. Right, we're English. So we we kind of, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Just get on with it, and we don't care about the smaller teams or anything. But it is the dream. It's the community around the world, isn't it? So you've got to allow for that, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, let's get into the main part of the show. I mean, Nath, we're 4.5 days in. I mean, we haven't watched all the games, I don't think, any of us, have we? But, I mean, how are you enjoying it so far, just as a general, World Cup? Does it feel like a good one so far? I don't know. It's mixed, in my opinion. But
I mean, I've had a damn good go at watching them all, to be honest with you. But I've the very early morning ones I've not really I've not kept up with, but I've watched the highlights. But sort of like, your 6 o'clock, your 8 o'clocks, your 11 o'clocks. I've watched a few of them. I've watched quite a bit. I'm enjoying it, but I'm an absolute sucker for international tournaments. Don't get me wrong. I can't stand the UEFA Nations League. It's just glorified friendlies. I get why they did it. I understand, but I don't like it. Again, I touched on World Cup qualifying and European qualifying. It's just crap. But yeah, when it comes to a tournament, there's just something about it. I just can't help but get wrapped up in it. And it's not even from an England point of view. To be honest with you, if England didn't qualify, I'd still watch every single game of the tournament if I could, just because I love watching. Yeah. I love watching everybody else play. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's better than I thought it would be. I think it's better than a lot of people thought it would be. I think we said on the last pod, we were talking about all the issues off the pitch, the politics, the actual pitches themselves, the stadiums, and all that kind of stuff. And I think we all said at the end of it, the football. Once the football starts, the noise will stop. And I really think that is true. Everyone's just sort of like commenting on the football and enjoying the football. But yeah, so far I've very much enjoyed it. Very much enjoyed it. In fact, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I've actually got Belgium and Egypt on my phone in the corner, which is why I keep glancing off to the side, because I've got the game on in the corner while we're recording.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, it's probably, you're probably asking the wrong person, because I'll always tell you that I absolutely love tournament football. So yeah, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it.
I'm enjoying it. It's just, I just think there's some up and down games. What I don't understand is how there's not like a morning sort of match the day style program on each day. Like, I know you can watch the highlights on, I think they're on YouTube, and you can get them like different places, but I can't believe that someone hasn't put together, like, especially the time zones and all that. Like, just a match the day style show. Like when the Olympics is on like a different time zone, they always have like, today at the Olympics or whatever in the morning.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, I can't believe there's not had that, but that's just another point. But Fize, what about you? You enjoyed it so far?
Exactly what Nathan said. I was one who was very skeptical about the World Cup. I was skeptical about the one in Qatar. I was skeptical about the one in Russia, and maybe it just harps back to what we were talking about sort of being a bit Eurocentric in our views and stuff. Like, we are given a absolute Rolls Royce of a product in the UK. Stadiums are full, everyone's singing. Everything's done on time. No kind of issues with infrastructure or anything. And we forget that it's a world game, right? And people go to different countries and there's different rules, and that's part of that. That's part of being a community. You have to accept everyone for who they are. And I really think, echoing what Nathan said, football started, and I've been involved. I've really enjoyed the minnows. Sorry, Scotland fans, you're in that as well. I've really enjoyed how they've gone at them. They're just, because it's just, I don't know. I feel like there is an equaliser there. Okay, the Germans happened again, but apart from that, I've really enjoyed it. The last minute header from Qatar, just to teach Switzerland a lesson. Who, I was thinking about it, Qatar aren't that much smaller than Switzerland, to be honest. But anyway, that kind of thing, and all the other sort of like, even today with the Spanish, you don't turn up and you get to win because people think you're really good. You've got to put it on the pitch, right? And they're carrying, these teams are carrying their nations, mate. And I am on board. I am on board with it. So yeah, really enjoying it. Let's see. There's a lot of games. I must say, there's a lot. I have to get this moan out. There's a lot of games happening, and 3 a day. Okay, I do enjoy that. There's a few games per day, but then the timings, the different countries, it's all a bit of a mess, really. But I think if we had today at Wimbledon, but for football, like that kind of thing, it would be perfect.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Can definitely do it. I guess the issue is whether it's on the different channels, I suppose, but there must be something they can do with that. I can't believe there isn't. But
shout out to the set that ITV have got. Is ITV? Well, they've got
ITV's the one in New York. BBC's one.
Yeah,
some set in it. Yeah, pay rise for the fella who found that, because that's stunning. That is stunning what they've done there.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of options over there, isn't there?
Yeah. I feel like you're not feeling it. I feel like you're not.
I am. Like, I genuinely am. Like, even the other night, like watching the American game, I didn't watch it live. Watching that, like just seeing the hosts and stuff. Same as the Mexico game, and that might be USA. It's like best game I've ever seen them play. Just from the outside looking in. I don't remember performing that well ever. Watching them, they've had some decent results over the years. At different times, but. That was something different, wasn't it? And even that was pretty cool. But I assume we're going to get more Trump involved in the American games if they start doing well. So, we can't root for that. Especially he's got the UFC out of the way and all that stuff.
Genuinely.
Shout out to Belugon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the day he turns up, they'll get knocked out. The day he turns up. He did it to the Knicks, didn't he? He turned up.
I was going to say the only game they lost in that series was the one he turned up to, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, but, he has solved the war that he started as well, hasn't he? So, good. Good old Donald Trump, FIFA Peace Prize winner, Donald Trump.
He is. It's the art of the deal, you see.
So.
It's the art of the deal. That's why I tell my wife all the time, like, I'm fixing problems, but you're causing them. But I am fixing them as well.
So doesn't matter, does it? Who started them? We don't need to talk about that.
Art of the deal.
Yeah. I genuinely am enjoying it, and as I say, I think the minnows have been a good thing. Like I just having the extra few of them as well. Teams that I'll be honest, a couple of these teams I've never seen them ever. I've never watched a single second of them play, which is, I don't think you have had for quite a long time these tournaments. It's nice to see some teams that I genuinely don't know any players really from their teams, or the commentators love to let you know that they've had like a 6-month loan spell at like Huddersfield in sort of 2016 or so, don't they?
That's brilliant. Isn't it?
Any link,
I love
but it's they're always interesting. But it's nice to see some different teams, isn't it? I think, and in a few weeks they'll all be long gone, I'm guessing, and we're back to sort of a normal bunch. But I think that's a good way of doing it. I think as you say, there's a lot of games and. I don't know how you solve that one. I don't think FIFA sees it as a problem that they have in all these games because
it's almost like
the money's rolling in.
It's almost like and this might be condescending. I don't mean it to be, but like it's like right, start the World Cup. We're going to throw all these teams in. There's going to be some new teams. There's going to be small teams. There's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of like you said, mad commentary stats and all that kind of stuff. And then you get into the knockouts and it's like right, we've had the fun. That's for the people who've come for the fun. Now we're ready to really knuckle down and start, sorting out the men from the boys, so to speak. And again, that might be, like a European way of looking at it, like we've just talked about. But that's kind of how it feels. You get your fun and you get your stories and your headlines in the group stages.
Yeah.
And then it's like, right, knockout boys. This is where it gets serious.
Yeah.
I don't know about you two, but I feel like this group stage a little bit has got a real feel of pre-season friendlies. That we're just sort of getting warmed up. The big teams are sort of not necessarily putting out all their stars, or you might rest some players or that sort of thing, and you say I think get to the last 32 and then you're going to see everyone playing.
I think a lot of players have, especially sort of what you would class as star players within the teams, have come with knocks and bumps and injuries, and I think the heat is playing a big part as well. I think the one game that summed up the heat for me was Brazil versus Morocco, where they were just going at each other in the first half, especially Morocco. They looked fantastic. The Morocco goal, by the way, holy hell, what a pass and what a finish. Like, unbelievable.
Amazing.
But in the second half, you could tell that they both put way too much into that first half, and it kind of turned into a bit of a war of attrition and just kind of surviving. But yeah, you can tell the heat is definitely having an impact on teams. But yeah. It's, like
Morocco were minnows 20 years ago, weren't they?
Yeah, semi-final.
Semi-final last time,
yeah. And their team's good. they've got good players. Do you know what I mean? Another one that surprised me, just putting the highlight on the African teams for a second. Obviously, I said that I've got an eye on the Belgium and Egypt game. Egypt looked really good, really solid. Good coming forward. They've definitely been the better team so far, and I think again a lot of African teams get a bit of a bad rep because they're from Africa and they don't play any good teams. So and it's like, well, hang on a minute, Morocco, Egypt, Ghana seem to be finding their feet again. Senegal seem to be starting to produce a few players as well, and all of a sudden it's like there's a few good teams out there.
It's funny. It's funny when they play for European teams, we're kind of more inclined to just rave about these players in a European setup. The moment they go back to their nations, we forget that they're an integral part of that team, and
absolutely,
and that suddenly South American teams used to turn up with just one good player. I remember Chile had like Marcelo Salas and people like that, and he would just have one good player, but they just all defended and let Marcelo Salas do what he was doing, and teams like that. But like I said, like you were saying, Nathan, it's one of those things where it's more of a societal thing than it is football perception. Of course, we have our biases and whatever, and the reason we picked the Dutch, for example, was because of Dennis Bergkamp, Mark Overmars, people like that in our history, right? So you have that, you know what I mean, right? And like we have that kind of tie to them, but I'll make you right. It is. I don't think it's disrespectful. I just think it's something that it's just normal. It's just the way you perceive things, and the way we are, but ultimately, it's a tournament with so many different teams in it this year. I did have an interesting twist on why so many of the minnow teams are involved this time. Obviously, there's a bigger pool to select from. But I can't remember where I read this now, but there was a suggestion that under the previous iteration of FIFA, they had multiple presidents around the world for different bodies, like they had the Americas and South America and Europe and whatever, and they were all like a club who would decide, okay, look, we need to make sure that for example, Germany had to be in a tournament, or the top teams in Africa had to be in a tournament, and things were kind of decided around like a friends table sort of thing, right? And then a funding was allocated on the basis of that, and like the removal of all of that has kind of proved kind of like a fertile ground for these, without these sort of like power hungry presidents that were all over the place, has allowed these little teams to be able to go and compete on the basis of just having an equal amount of funding. So that really good piece. I'll have to find out where it was and let you guys know, but it was a really interesting piece that now, because there's a bit more of an equilibrium with the funding of these international teams, they're able to now go and invest in themselves and better themselves. So interesting. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Because I assume, say they went to 64 teams, a big chunk of them are going to come from Europe, I would guess. You're probably get a lot more extra European teams than necessarily Asia might get a couple, South America might get a couple, but you're probably going to get 6, 7 extra European teams if they expanded. So it's not like you get loads more minnows in there. You will get a couple, obviously, just from
you wouldn't
American teams and stuff, but yeah.
There is a fundamental rule about this World Cup, which I think is just important to remember when anybody's talking about it, is that this is the first time we've had so many teams involved. America, football wise, is a tiny market compared to like what America represents for the rest of the world outside of football. So the difference is sort of like, I think America is like 25% of the world's sort of like GDP is America, and then in football it's about 2%. So there's this huge market, and so like the more games they can show, and the more kind of the more of its infrastructure it can use, the more they parade themselves around the more games they can show around the country, the more of a spectacle it is. Because America and India are the two great untapped markets of football in the world, right? And so to be able to sort of like deliver more games and deliver more of a product and say, look what it can do for you, I just think it's kind of a thing why FIFA have done this. But who knows? But that's just a bit of thinking behind it that I kind of got from reading that piece. But yeah, it's It's interesting, and I don't think it's long before India gets a World Cup as well. For those reasons that it's the amount of people you can get involved in it is just second to none, isn't it?
Mm.
So just getting that infrastructure there and funding, and it doesn't take that long, does it, to develop a bit of time, decade or two. But if they start it now, it doesn't take long for that to just snowball into something big, does it? It's it'd be interesting to see what that could become. Obviously, we've not been that many games so far, but I mean, Nathan, is there any players that have stood out to you? Anyone you'd like to see at the Emirates next year?
Bouadi played well for Morocco.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, we've been heavily linked with him. He looks very sort of way beyond his years. I think what is he, 18 or something like that? 18, 19. He was the best player on the pitch, and bear in mind they were playing Brazil. Don't get me wrong, it is not a vintage Brazil team.
No, but they're still Brazil. Well,
that's it, isn't it? It goes back to that folklore that we were talking about. Brazil at a World Cup. It doesn't matter who's playing. It's Brazil at a World Cup. Do you know what I mean? They could have 10 lads that they just picked up from the Rio Carnival. The day after finished. You put them in yellow shirts on the world stage. Everyone goes, "Shit, we're playing Brazil at World Cup." It's like Real Madrid in the Champions League, isn't it? There's just this weird aura about them. But yeah, Bouadi was fantastic. He ran the midfield, bossed it. Looked so confident, so calm, so cool on the ball. Just no drama. So yeah, if there was one player I had to pick out, I'd have to say him. At the moment, he's definitely. Although I'm going to give a massive shout out to the Cape Verde goalkeeper before in the game earlier on. He made some really important saves. Came out. I mean, don't get me wrong, Spain were awful from a shooting perspective, but when they did get it on target, he was there every time. So yeah, I think he's like 40 years old or something like that, playing in the Portuguese second division, I think they said. But yeah, he was brilliant. He had a really good game.
Sign him up.
Absolutely. We're looking for number 2, aren't we? Backup goalkeeper.
Yeah, Kepa goes out then. Maybe he's our guy.
I'll take him 100%.
What about you, Fize? You don't really get many players these days, do you, that you don't really know much about? So yeah, players.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
Has anyone said that to you?
So I mean, shout out to Bouadi, because that was some performance. It reminded me of when Zubimendi came on for Rodri in that Euros game against us, and just didn't look like they missed anything. Assured, calm, decision making was off the charts. Every single pass was the right pass to make at that time, every single one, and then he was able to break forward. So really commanding performance. But I think, is it Brown for Germany, the left back? He looked really decent. I think he's just signed or is going to sign for Bayern Munich. Shock, hold the press. Yeah. Good German player decides to sign for Bayern Munich. So is the Morocco striker, by the way, who scored who lobbed the goal.
Yeah, he's just signed, hasn't he? Yeah.
Which is Bayern Munich there with their checkbook. Oh, you played well? Yeah, why not? But yeah, so the left back was really good for Germany. Do you know what, lads? We're Arsenal. I thought Kai Havertz was brilliant. I think Kai Havertz was brilliant. I thought Kai Havertz looked like the striker that I'd like him to be for Germany. Now, I think I've seen him play better, but I thought Kai. There was the goal that he scored when he ran through, and they chipped the goalkeeper. I just thought to myself, yes, Kai Havertz, I'd like to see you do that more, please, sir. So I thought, Kai Havertz, a couple of the Arsenal lads did really well. But the player that sticks with me is Brown, the left back for our boys in Germany. Really good player, and destined for Bayern Munich. So, what about you guys?
Havertz? Well, just on Havertz, I think you said, was it last week or the week before? Just about the sort of player he was before he signed for us. I think we've seen him play for Germany. There's a little bit more of that about him, doesn't he? A little bit more freedom to.
Oh, great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Be that player.
That's what I thought.
I don't really, obviously helps the opponent isn't isn't
Yeah,
the best, but
yeah,
it's tough. But yeah, as I say, Brady for me, I think he's a standout so far, isn't he? Of someone I didn't really know anything much about. Sort of heard his name and obviously I was linked with him, but I'm not going to pretend I've seen lots of him. But you see him play that one game, and you just see why all the big teams are sort of potentially interested, aren't you? I see like Real Madrid potentially interested. I'm sure everyone would be if he's available. Yeah, he's one that you look at him, you think, oh yeah, I'd love to see him come on side for us. But yeah, it's been
a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about it.
Yeah.
And it makes some sense, I think, like age-wise as well. I think our midfield's not old, but maybe we'll talk about that in our next show where we're talking about the midfielders. But midfield's not old, but it's also lacking a bit of youth, I'd say. So maybe someone a bit younger that can sort of develop a little bit as well as contribute right now would be pretty interesting. He's the one for me. Obviously, we've seen a few Arsenal players out there. I mentioned Havertz already, but also Gyokeres score for Sweden. What they win 5-1. Was it 5-1? Got the Tunisia managers fired. Has that ever happened before? I honestly don't remember a manager getting sacked during a World Cup.
That's rough, that, isn't it? That is rough.
I want to say, I think Morocco did it once, but I'm not sure.
Did they?
But honestly, what are you thinking? Like, what he's damaged your chances of progressing, or what? Like, you may as well wait. I mean,
there must have been something more go on there, but I'm not in tune with like the Tunisia press, so I wonder if we'll ever know. But that was wild. But
he's probably kicked off the dressing room or something, and they've gone.
Yeah, it must be more to it than that. It's weird. Obviously, Gabriel played for Brazil.
Didn't play well.
No.
Well,
Marino did he got for Spain, didn't he? But none of the others played. None of the other Arsenal lads played. And what you thought their games? I feel like a lot of the Arsenal games have been in the middle of the night. It feels like so far. So I haven't actually watched loads of them other than the highlights, to be honest. But
Trossard's playing as we speak.
Oh yeah, Trossard. Yeah, I forget Trossard.
He's doing all right. He's not setting the world on fire.
That's his game. That's what he does.
Do you know what? Yeah, it is his game, and that's exactly what he does. He's just quiet, and then out of nowhere he'll leave a bag or he'll get the assist, won't
he? Yeah.
It didn't go unnoticed that you had mentioned like how great Egypt were and stuff, and bigging Egypt up, and then about 2 seconds later, Belgium equalised.
Literally, Lukaku had just come off the bench and with his first touch scored. Like, it was just ridiculous.
It was an own goal. I think it might have been.
Oh, they give it an own goal. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think it's an own goal.
I think my Egyptian mate will be very upset if I get this wrong, but I believe their striker has just signed for Barcelona.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I forget his name now, but yeah, he's just signed for Barcelona. So
they're a weird team in Egypt, aren't they? Because like so many of their players still play in Egypt, don't they? Where they, I think they get pretty decent money, don't they, playing in Egypt? So
it's massive.
You don't get a lot of them leaving there. So we've got
Egyptians.
In this team.
We could do a pod of just Egyptian players. They have a unique love for their country, mate. It's a weird thing. Like I said, I've got a very good friend of mine who's an Everton fan for his sins, and he even though we don't really want updates on Egyptian football, he just gives them to us, and I've got to know a little bit about Egyptian players over a few years, and they are the most humble people you can meet. Do you remember Mohamed Al Nani that played for us, right? A little while ago.
Of course.
Right. So Mo Al Nani is a perfect example of just get on with your job. Talented players can play anywhere they want. But they love their country, and as soon as they've felt like they've had a little bit of a career in Europe, back to the beaches, back home straight away. And they play in front of huge crowds, mate. And they're celebrities over there. So, it's no surprise. It's a bit different from the other North African countries because obviously the infrastructure isn't the same. But Egyptian players, 100%. They've had players who are like, played for some of the biggest clubs in Europe. But just Mohamed Salah being the most prolific of all of them and the best of all of them. But they do have a great affinity for just. Are we done? Can I? Yep. Can we? Yep. Yeah. Go back somewhere warm, please, if you don't mind. So yeah, it's it is one of those things. It's a bit like Brazilians wanted to go to the carnival. Like I remember, was it Neymar had a clause in his contract, or something like that? But maybe not a clause, but an agreement that he would suddenly develop a bit of a hamstring strain when the carnival was coming around, and then suddenly would recover. His recovery had to be in Rio type thing, and then suddenly flew back. Yeah.
I mean, when this goes out, England will be playing tomorrow. It's 2 nights when we're recording, but let's have a quick look ahead to that. Nath, looks like they're going to play a different team. Saka looks like he's going to maybe be rested through the group stage a lot. I don't think we're going to see loads of him unless they really need him. But good chance for Madueke to maybe get, show maybe what he can do. Who knows? You might see more of the same.
Well, Noni doesn't.
Yeah.
See how many times he could run it out of play. After he's done some good stuff and then just forgotten. Yeah. What are you expecting from this England team? And are Croatia the team that maybe they used to be? I don't think they are they? They're not.
I think Croatia are
an Asian team, aren't they?
They're definitely an Asian team, but I still think they're always going to be a good team. I think they'll always be good. However old Luka Modric is now, still scares the hell out of me. I know he's an ex-Tottenham player, but holy shit, what a player! Oh, just like we have them players where they play for that other team in North London, and sometimes you look and you think, fucking hell, he's all right. And you have to whisper it because you're not allowed to say it out loud, but it's like he's a bit of all right, and he's definitely up there. He might even be at the top of that tree. But yeah, look, Croatia are a completely different sort of proposition to what they were when they beat us. I think from an England perspective, I'm not expecting much from this team. I think it's a team in transition, and I think it's a team that's still trying to find its feet a little bit. Obviously, we've got a new manager as well, so there'll be new ideas, fresh ideas. But I do think it's an opportunity for someone to really become an England hero. I think there's a void there. I think, look, Harry Kane's going to do what Harry Kane does. He's just a phenomenal player, and he's had another phenomenal season. So I think a lot of it's going to rest on him from an attacking point of view. But certainly that line, those next 2 lines behind him, there's room there for someone to really put their name on it and say, I'm here to be England's top player. I really do. There's a big opportunity. Look, I love Declan Rice, and I think he's the first name on the sheet, and I'm putting him ahead of Kane as well. I really am. I think it's great that he's been made vice captain. I think he's just a born leader. It just makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, I think for me, I'm not expecting a lot. I think it might be a tournament too early for Tuchel, especially. But I do think there's an opportunity there for some players to really step up and stamp themselves into his first 11 for however long he's going to be with us.
What are you, Fize? Do you fancy England tomorrow? Oh, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, here on everything that Nath said about Modric. Modric is a very, very special player. And even before that, when they seem to get these like classes of players that come through, 4 or 5 in one go. There'll be like a right back, a left back, a centre back, 2 midfielders at a time, or maybe a striker and whatever. And they go through these little, but they're always that teams from that part of the world are always technically good. Always, they all play football in the way that it should be played. England, yeah. Harry Kane will do what Harry Kane does. Absolutely correct. I think this is an important tournament for Jude Bellingham. This time last year, Jude Bellingham was probably one of the best players in the world. Yeah, pretty much. He was winning everything for Real Madrid. He was scoring goals left, right, and centre. He took Zidane's shirt. Everyone was like, "This is generational. This is everything it needs to be." And this year has been an absolute nosedive for him. So I think a lot rests on Jude Bellingham this year. You've got all the attacking players we mentioned, right? So we've got your Rodgers, you've got your Nonnies, your Saka. I said Rodgers already. But then you've got like the players that we already know, like Declan Rice, etc. And I just think without Foden, without Palmer, as rubbish as they've been, I think a lot rests on Jude Bellingham. Even his reputation going forward, because he's done decent for England. You know, there's been questions asked about him, rightfully so, and Real Madrid won't take long to sort of like get the white flags out for you. So there is a lot resting on Jude Bellingham, and I think that, you know, a good tournament sets him up for a good season with Real Madrid. But if he has a bad tournament, consequently an average season for Real Madrid, then that's a lot of money and a lot of wages he's on. And Real Madrid don't take 2 seasons to move on from someone. So I think it's important for Jude Bellingham, and I think a lot rests on him. If he has a good tournament, we could do well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'll just look at this England team. I do think there is enough like match winners in there for us to go deep, but I don't know. I don't think the tournament being where it is, and you know the conditions are going to be played in, helps England in any way. You know, the sort of style that we've got. You know, he's definitely gone for that sort of athletic, you know, sort of powerful team, which, you know, I think maybe in these conditions, you know, when it's a like blistering hot day, you know, you could do with you know, someone to just keep the ball a bit and slow things down, which I'm not sure England have got that really in this squad. You know, we're not going to play, you know, a certain way, and I'm not sure it's necessarily going to help where we are. But yeah, I think just on tomorrow, if you want to win the World Cup, you've got to be beating teams like Croatia, really. You know, this current Croatia team, I think you've got to be looking to beat teams like that. Not that Croatia bad, but they're not a contender, really, are they? They're you know, they're a level or two below that right now.
I think what you were saying about you know the heat and things like that affecting us. I think what I would say is our bench is probably stronger than most, and I think given the season that Arsenal have just had, I think we saw how important that was with, you know, the injuries that we had, and it was a big talking point before the season started for Arsenal, where it was like Arsenal have really improved squad depth, but not just depth for the sake of depth. It was the quality that we brought in as well. And I think if you put our bench against, you know, a lot of other nations' benches, I think we're certainly up there, top 3, top 5, I would say, in terms of who we can bring on in those moments where it is getting a little bit, you know, fatigued and things like that. I think the other thing I would say as well is we've got to win this game. Like, there's no sort of lose or draw this one, and it's okay because we've got 2 more teams coming up. Like, having had a look at the old wall chart and the Excel spreadsheets that people create, winning the group I think is essential to going deep. I really do. Don't get me wrong, there's some tough games, but it's a hell of a lot tougher finishing second. So I think it's a must win for the opening game. And it's not often, you know, everyone says you want to get at least a point, don't you, on the table in the opening game. This one for me, we've got to win it 100%.
That's a good point.
Right. Well, I think that probably brings us to the end of our World Cup show. We're going to be back later this week looking at the Arsenal midfield, and you know, there's a lot to talk about there. But if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast, please make sure you subscribe there. Give us a like, all those things. Comment. Let us know, you know, what you think of us, what you think of England's chances, what you think of the World Cup so far. You know, all of that stuff. Just get involved and subscribe is a big thing. You can follow us at Clock End Taproom. You know, got lots of stuff on there. I'm going to have lots more stuff coming up, especially through this World Cup and as we move towards the season. So make sure you go and follow us there. I think that's about it. Cheers, lads. And I'll see you later in the week.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Catch you all soon.